You're listening to the Chillin' with the Dogs podcast, where we talk sports, mostly football, and a lot about the Browns. Our episodes drop Friday mornings. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. The more we hear from you guys, the better our podcast can be. All right, now let's get into it. Welcome in to Chillin' with the Dogs podcast. This is your host, Justice, and as always, I'm joined here with my old man. And we're coming at you guys it's a Wednesday now, so it's not right after, but we're coming to you after that big win on Sunday against the Ravens. Unfortunately, we got some sad news today, but
we'll get to that. Let's talk about the Ravens game first.
Okay, well, that game was honestly one of my favorite games to watch as a Browns fan that I can really remember in a long time, probably since the Browns beat the Steelers in the playoffs. That game had everything you wanted. I mean, it was, we were behind 14 points several different times in that game, and you never saw, the Browns really lose the fight. You saw even when we were losing, we did have a lot of great physical performances from people that maybe you wouldn't always expect. That big block that Tillman had was pretty sweet. I mean, it was just a fun game to watch. It looked like AFC North football. What would you feel?
Well, pick six to start the game. That's always great.
Yeah.
I think I threw my phone there, and then we get the ball back, punt it. They go down the field and score. So now we're down 14-0, and I'm thinking, what the freaking bloody hell is going on? I'm not watching this crap. I'm going outside.
Yep.
And if my headphones wouldn't have been jacked up, I probably would have missed the game. But I had to come back in and work on my headphones, and I'm glad that I did. I think I kept saying, that we were down 14, and I'm like, man, Deshaun looks like ass. Looks like ass. He had happy feet, in my opinion, from what I could see. He had happy feet. I didn't watch the game the second time.
I did. I can tell you about that.
So he had happy feet, to me, watching the game. It looked like he had happy feet. He was not completing passes. He was 6 of 20 in the first half. And I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? And then I think I said it I think we kicked a field goal, so it was 14-3. Defense held. We got them did we muff the punt in the first half, or was that?
It was the second half. It was towards the end of the game, actually.
Well, anyways, once we got on the board and I was seeing how the defense was actually playing, I mean, yeah, we gave up plays, big plays. Well, I don't know. I almost think I'd rather give up a couple big plays here and there and just shut them down the rest of the way. I mean, Baltimore but they had 306 total yards, 200 passing and 100 rushing. If you hold Baltimore to 100 rushing yards, that's damn good defensive effort.
Yep.
And, I mean, 200 yards ain't nothing to write home about passing-wise. I mean, Deshaun only was 195 yards passing.
And the thing is they got a lot of those receiving yards on a couple of plays. Like the Mark Andrews touchdown was 50 yards. The Mark Andrews long catch was 50 yards. Odell's was over almost 50 yards, so there's half the yards right there.
Odell's was 35.
It was a longer one, though.
And Zay Jones had a 35-yarder.
Zay Flowers.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It was 3 or 4 big plays was their offense.
The Mitchell screen was a long one. It was a lot of chunk plays is
right.
What they got those yards in. So for me, I think that's what kind of how our defense is established. You're going to have some of those, especially against good teams, you're going to have some of those chunk plays. You're going to give those up because you're so aggressive. Even the Odell touchdown catch, I watched back the All-22 twice because there was so many different things I wanted to see, certain players I wanted to hone in on. And on that play, everybody was covered. Even Odell was covered really well. It was just that Mike Ford.
You're talking about Odell's touchdown?
Yes. Every one of those routes was covered up perfectly, except Odell had a little bit of separation, and Mike Ford sold out to block the pass, but it was a really good pass way out in front of Odell. If that was even probably a foot behind where he had thrown it, Ford would have been able to make a play and probably block that. So But that's what happens when you play defense as we do. You're gonna be aggressive and you're gonna give up stuff like that. I think.
Well, okay, I
And
understand
then
that.
the long
What I need Mike Ford to do there is not worry about because he had no help over the top.
right.
So you got to know that you can't do what he did.
Yeah, you're also talking about our fourth string cornerback.
I don't care. I don't care if it's me out there. I would hold myself to the same standard and be like, I can't freaking do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was the first or second play after Ward went out and he was in there. You know they're coming to you. You can't do that.
The other one, Mark Andrews, he was like that play was very well covered. Grant Delpit just fell down when he broke out. Delpit fell down because I think he tripped over JOK. So I think it's just some of those are going to happen here and there. But that defense played a great game in my opinion, especially against a team that everyone talks about how good their offense is.
They suck.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but we'll definitely get to see that here over the course of their schedule. It's definitely getting a lot tougher for them. They're going to be playing some better defenses. But I watched that game back, and Deshaun, even, and this is an unpopular opinion because everybody says his first half sucked. I don't think it did. I didn't see the happy feet. I was watching his feet exclusively for a lot of that, and he actually looked pretty good in the pocket. It was more so like a lot of those people weren't getting open. And what actually is funny is his vision was pretty decent in the first half. I would say in the second half, his vision was, I mean, obviously he was making the right, like he made only completions, so you can't say they were bad plays, but he missed that. Oh wait, no, that would have been in the first half. But when Njoku dropped that ball on the right, on the right sideline, he had Elijah Moore open in the end zone.
Yeah.
So there was just a couple of times he might not have seen the field as well, but I think he played a pretty good game. There was a couple of maybe 3 bad throws in the early going, but a lot of those incompletions, he was just trying to get it fitted into a place that they weren't open, or like the one I was explaining to you with that crossing route, like that post over the middle to Elijah Moore. He was trying to basically sit him down the zone, and Elijah Moore ran into the zone. So to me, I don't think he played a terrible game in the first half, and then the second half, I thought he played really well. Granted, he didn't take some of the shots that he took early in the game. And Deshaun was talking about how he felt like they were trying to press to get back in the game early on. And Stefanski said, you gotta threaten them downfield and stretch them out. So I get that, but I don't know. I was relatively pleased with how he played, especially going back and looking at it. But that doesn't matter.
So would you say he played average, above average?
I would say he definitely played above average in that game to me. Going back and watching it, I definitely think he did.
Okay. Because I'd have to watch it. I would say he played average.
If you watched it back, I think you would agree.
And one thing, like I've been listening to the radio all week and everyone's talking about how he's back and all of this.
I wouldn't go that far though.
I think people forget. Like, I watched Baker, I think in the first half or the second half of a game, go 18 for 18.
Yeah, I remember that. It was first half.
And they ended up winning the game by like, I think it was like 42 to freaking 20 or something. I'd have to look it up, but
was that against Cincy?
I think so. And it's like I've seen that play before. Like
Jacoby did it last year.
Yeah, Jacoby had I've seen it before. And everybody's like ooh and on over what he did, and it's like he was 6 for 20 in the first half.
Right.
Whatever reason it was, he was 6 for 20. And he finished
20 of 34, I believe.
20 of 35.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
that's not statistically great.
No, but you know how I feel about stats. But, like, watching the game, I mean, there was times, and maybe I just need to rewatch it, which I probably should. Yeah. But, like, there was times I was thinking, dude, like, he's stepping up in the pocket when he should be going backwards. Or stepping backwards when he should be going up. And it's like, And then there was times I'm thinking, dude, that guy is wide ass open, and he's looking to get out. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I watched Lamar, and everyone's like, "Oh, he was he was under so much pressure." Well, I don't think he was under any more pressure than what Lamar was.
Oh, Deshaun was definitely not. I think Lamar was under way
Yeah,
more
I
pressure.
mean, Lamar was being.
I no the tackles, the O line played an incredible game. And I know we're talking a good bit about Deshaun, but that game was an entire team win. I I watched that final drive. We wouldn't have won if Wyatt Teller didn't jump on that fumble that
Right.
Judon got. Like, it took every single player, and it was perfectly crystallized by that, you know, whatever
The
you want to say,
rugby
the rugby
scrum.
scrum.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite Browns wins because that is Browns football in a nutshell. Is that drive to me? Um, it was just awesome to see. I I know a lot of people are talking about Deshaun right now because of the injury news we got earlier today, and how excited everybody was seeing how he played at the second half of Sunday. But there was there was plenty of individual efforts, but that game felt like what a team win exactly looks like to me.
Right.
So
Well, what I liked was we're watching the game, and Hopkins misses that extra point.
mhm.
And then he comes off the field, and it's like, I think Delpit, JOK,
Yep,
and
Z.
Zadarius. Yeah, they're like, we got you. We're
Yep.
good.
So I gotta give credit to Zagura on Brown's Daily. He had a quote from Dustin Hopkins that was hilarious. He said, "I felt like an arsonist who put out my own fire
Yeah.
and got heralded as a hero."
Yeah.
That was awesome. Like that's just the funniest quote I've heard. But I mean, he did. Like, it was cool to see him, miss a PAT, which everybody nowadays considers, should be automatic. That can be something that destroys your confidence, and he just goes in there and nails it like nothing.
Right.
And it was actually, I think, a 40-yarder, so it was just a little bit more.
No, it was like 43 yards, I think.
Okay.
Is what it was.
Well, it was cool to see him go in there and not be phased by that. He's been having a great season, so um, it was just cool to see, something like that. I feel like
No, it was 40 yards.
yeah, I feel like that was something that maybe a Browns team a couple years ago wouldn't have been able to come back from.
Last year.
Even last year, yeah, that would be something so deflating. But you saw it almost breezed over by the team, like they didn't even care because that defense knew that it was going to put itself in a position to
Right.
be able to win the game. And that's awesome when your team has that much confidence in what they're doing. That these little, I mean, there was so many times we shot ourselves in the foot in that game. So many different times. I mean, that muffed punt
turned into points.
Which not even just turned into points, it turned into like 5 drives in the goal line.
Right.
Like, there's that, and that took so much time. Like, we were trying to get back into the game at that point.
It literally took 3.5 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, and it took 3.5 minutes off the clock. I think it went from 9 minutes or 10 minutes to like 6. And then in the very beginning of that that field goal drive, you had Hudson have a false start penalty to put you behind the sticks on the very first play. Like, there was just so many times that I feel like a Browns team of the past might have laid down, but they didn't. And that was really cool to see. It's just, he had so many cool efforts. He had Greg Newsome with his first touchdown, or his first interception being a pick 6.
Yep.
That was a huge difference maker in the game. Obo getting the tip on that. I think pretty much everybody on the defense, it seemed like, made a play that day. Anywhere down the roster, even backups, they all played a great game. Mike Ford, I think, got his first interception too, if I'm not mistaken. So, like,
yeah, right after he knocked Lamar on his ass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen, but that game was incredibly physical. You had Tillman just blowing a dude up. Wyatt Teller did the same thing to the same guy. Like, Kyle Van Noy probably had a real rough night trying to recover. But I mean, it was such a fun game to watch, and
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I hated it. And
Well,
then I loved it.
yeah.
Then I hated it.
Well,
then
yeah.
I loved it. Then I hated it.
Yeah, you especially love it because of the outcome. I wonder how would you have felt if, say, we didn't win that game? Say we missed that field goal at the end.
I would have been upset, but
I mean, I would have been upset too. But man,
well, I'll say it like this: the news we got today, I'd have been
it would have been
devastated today.
Yeah.
But the way that the team played, I don't know. I think I still would. I think I'd have been pissed.
Yeah.
Because we, as a defense, played so great, and our offense and the special teams were just letting us down. And I've watched the Browns' offense for the last couple years be pretty decent, and our defense just blow games. And It's like now, and I've said it before, I'll say it till I die. If we'd have had this defense for the last 2 years, we'd have been. I mean, it'd have been hard to beat us.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But honestly, if you have this defense for any, like, I would say our offense the past couple of years has been above average. That's easy to say. I mean, last year we definitely were.
Well, last year with Jacoby, we were in the top 5 for offense.
Right. And so obviously there you would have been in a great spot. And I even think that year with Baker, our offense was humming then too.
Well, not when he had his shoulder.
Well, no, I'm talking
our
about
offense was average.
The playoff year. But no, I don't know. It's crazy to think that you went into that game with a quarterback who ended up getting hobbled during the game. You had your backup tackles. Actually, you were down to your
fourth and fifth
tackles. The offense, I mean, in some of your key positions was down. You didn't have Nick Chubb. And it was cool to see. I saw something. The Browns needed 24 points. What was it? Something about 24 points after I can't remember what the stat was, but there was some significance of 24 that they needed, and they got it. And they were like,
at half.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it was 17-9 at half.
Right. So that was cool to see. Yeah, they scored 24 points, I think, at the end of the game.
They never led in the game until
0-0.
Till the clock stopped.
Right. I don't know. It was cool to see. After that game, it gave me great confidence that we really could beat anybody. As much as we'll say the Ravens suck and everything, that team is physical. And it's been, one of the teams in the AFC North that you have to get through to go anywhere. I mean, between them and the between them and the Steelers, those two teams for my entire lifetime have been, top dogs. So
I'm gonna say this about the Ravens, and they don't suck.
Yeah.
But they do suck, because I've said it a million times, and I'm gonna just keep preaching it. Lamar Jackson cannot throw the ball, and if Lamar Jackson does not run the ball, they don't win games. They just don't. So I can't remember many games where he's just picked apart defenses throwing the ball. I don't think it happens. Like, okay, so Lamar was 13 of 23 for 223 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. He ran the ball 8 times for 41 yards. And if you watch that game, he was trying to run.
He was. At
the end of the game. When their offense is getting bullied instead of being the bullies, they can't do anything. Like, when they play San Francisco, they're in for they're going to have a long day.
Yeah, because their ends are fast.
Lamar might get hurt in that game. When they play the Bengals, I think when they play the Bengals again, they're going to have a rough day.
Tomorrow.
Right. If Lamar isn't running, I wish I would have wrote this down because I've been thinking about it all week. But
while you're thinking that, I just wanted to add to that point. I think it's funny if you watch that game back, as the game got closer, Lamar didn't even look at reads anymore. When he saw the pocket collapse, even like as soon as the pockets collapsed, he started to roll out and start to run. There, like that play at the end, it was like third and I can't remember the yardage, but it was third and very long, like behind the sticks. And Z's coming down on him, doesn't quite get to him, but he rolls out and Miles gets him out at like third and it would have been 4th and 7. They had to punt. Like there, he didn't even really. He thought maybe for a second to pass, but then once he felt pressure, he was gone. And I mean, if you're not that he's exclusively a running quarterback now, because he's not. He can throw the ball still, but when he has been pressed, he does revert back to that. I think he bets on his rushing ability more so than his passing ability.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not stupid.
The crazy thing is Lamar was having a great game until the second half too. Like passing wise, he was playing pretty well. I think he was like 8 of 11, and then they just shut him down in the second half.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't say he was playing great. Like, yeah. I mean, he had a couple passes, but like we said earlier, it was all chunk plays.
Right.
I mean, we were down 14-0, and they were trying to run the ball to, start eating clock. I don't know. I was just impressed with the resilience of our defense to go down 14 and come back and make it a game.
I mean, yeah, that's two.
I mean, the defense bailed our ass out. I don't care what anybody says about how great Deshaun looked in the fourth quarter. I don't care. If the defense didn't play the way they did, I mean, like you said, it's a whole team game. Mm-hmm. And Deshaun had to do what he did, but it's not even freaking close if the defense.
I mean, they score a touchdown.
Isn't playing out of their minds.
We wouldn't have even. Just our offense alone didn't score us enough points.
I mean, you got to think too. Like, we lost Ward in that game,
right?
From a cheap shot from a Ravens player.
Yeah, that was Ronnie Stanley.
Yeah, and then Ronnie Stanley got freaking hurt. I love it.
Yeah, they were talking about that being karma.
And it's like, so Denzel goes out, bringing Mike Ford. He knocks Lamar on his ass.
Yeah, he did.
Which I love that. And everyone's like, oh, no, that was perfectly legal. And if that had been, I mean, they did it to our quarterback.
Yeah. And I kind of wish it was on the Ravens sideline, because if that would have happened on the Ravens sideline, it would have been a fight.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah, it happened on ours. So, yeah, I think you had someone shoved, but other than that, it wasn't too crazy. And honestly, like, it was kind of cool because a lot of times the refs are never on the Brown, or not the refs, sorry, the announcers are never on the Browns side, but they're like, yeah, you can't call, late hit or anything there. He was literally just barely out of bounds.
Yeah, his foot just came down out of bounds. How many times have you seen a quarterback act like they're going out of bounds and then run up the side?
Yeah, and the thing was his foot, like half of his foot was out of bounds.
Right.
Like it wasn't like it was incredibly close. So I'm glad they let that play. And that's AFC North football, I guess.
Well, they need to let more of that actually go. There was a lot of penalties in that game that should not have been.
No.
Both ways, I think. I mean, blatant bad ones were against us, but the Ravens had a couple stupid calls against them.
One for Tillman down, like that vert that Tillman had, I don't think that was a penalty. They called pass interference on the defender. I think that was pretty weak. But I agree with you. I think that both ways, I mean, it seemed like if I was being objective, there were a lot more that went against the Browns in that game. But there was definitely some calls that were ticky-tacky for the Ravens too.
Yeah.
And I think when you're playing in our division, it's...
Well, no, it should be like that in every game. Like, they need to swallow the whistle once in a while.
Right.
And hold on to the flags. And it's in every game. It wasn't just ours. I forget which other game I was watching, but it's like, what the hell? Like, he barely touched it. There was 2 holding calls against us that were... if it's a Ravens player, which they did it the whole freaking game to us, and never got called for defensive holding one time.
Well, that's exclusively what Marlon Humphrey does.
Exactly.
That's all he does.
And it's like, really, you're going to call that on the touchdown, the
pick
the interception. That was a horrible call. Like,
I don't know, it was pretty bad.
No, it wasn't. He did not at all pull that guy's jersey. Not at all.
It looked like he turned him.
No, he did. The guy cut. That's why he just put his hand on it.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they replayed it like 5 times. And I'm like, and another thing, too, they really got to get onto the TV crap is when they call these penalties. And I firmly believe this. When they call the penalties and don't show the replay,
the NFL tells them not to.
I think the NFL's like, nah, we're fixing this game. This is a penalty. Don't show the replay. We don't want anybody to see it.
Well, maybe it's not the fact that they're fixing it, but maybe the NFL's like, hey, that was a bad call. Don't show that. Because it was amazing how many – they always show – it always seems like they show replays for everything. And in that game, there was like probably 4 calls against the Browns that they didn't show.
No,
they didn't. That felt really weird.
They didn't.
So I don't know what that was about. But you get to see him on the All-22, so I watched him.
But one thing I did want to say, because I was thinking about this, and it's got nothing to do with the Browns. It's about the Monday night game with Buffalo and Denver. I watched most of that game, and one thing I got issue with people that just look at stats.
Yeah.
Because I watched that game. Josh Allen, I think, had 3 picks. 2 of them hit his receivers. One went right through Gabe Davis's hands, hit him in the face mask, bounced up, and that was a pick.
Yep.
The next one hit the guy right over his shoulder, in his hands, through his hands to a defender. He threw one bad pass that was ill-advised. But everyone's talking about how he's a turnover machine. And he is. I mean, he's going to throw you the ball. But if you're going to sit there and rail on a guy for throwing 3 picks, know how the picks were thrown. I mean, they fired their offensive coordinator today. Or yesterday, whenever it was.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? What did he do? He called good plays. Those guys were open. He hit them in the hands. Maybe you ought to talk to the defensive guy. Who happens to be the head coach.
Right.
Like, stop somebody for a change. They couldn't stop him. But, okay. So But that's like Deshaun's stats. I watched the game. He was 6 of 20. And when we watched the game, we both said he's playing like ass.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't watch it back and see the whole field.
You're also looking at it from an angle, too. Watching it on the All-22 again to watch like behind, like you're watching film, definitely made some things pretty clear.
Yeah, but you have to watch the game. You can't go by the stats.
Yeah.
Because I can argue with everybody who's like, he was 14 of 14 for whatever in the second half. And I'm like, on the Really Big Show, Rizzo's like, he was 14 of 14 in the second half. And I'm thinking, he was 6 of 20 in the first half, brother.
Right.
Like, I mean, you can't say, like, there was a caller that called in and they're like, okay, let's be honest here. It's not like he was playing great all year.
Right.
And Rizzo's like, you're done, and cut him off. And it's like, really, dude? Like, because someone's arguing with you?
Well, you can't do that on radio. You got to have people that'll.
Well, no, he was in a mood today. He's like, if you call and say Deshaun sucks, you're done. I'm not listening to you. And it's like, well, Deshaun did suck in the first half. Everybody said it. It was all over Twitter and everything else.
Yeah.
They read him on the Really Big Show. Everyone was saying Deshaun sucked. And hell, he even said it Monday. Yeah. And then today or yesterday, he's like, oh, no. If you say that, you're done. We're not talking about how he sucks. He's great. He's back. He's back. He's Deshaun.
And now he's done.
And I'm like, wait a minute. He was 6 for 20 in the first half. Okay, I saw Baker go 18 for 18 in a game. No one gives him props.
Well, I will say if you start to suck and then make adjustments at halftime and play really well, that's good.
No, that is good.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, watching back, I can see why he was not very effective early on, because honestly we weren't getting tons of separation. A lot of the plays, there was a couple of plays that he missed, and there was a couple of bad throws, but there was a lot of them that they just were not open, and there was a. I feel like him and Amari Cooper are on the same page. I honestly feel like him and Joku are on the same page. Everybody else, I don't think so.
Well, dude, he hasn't played.
I know, no,
I mean,
it's fair, but like
they
Elijah
played with
Moore,
3 quarterbacks.
Elijah Moore and him not on the same page. Obviously, him and Tillman are not going to be, you know. So like, and that's actually, if DTR is playing, that might be a cool connection. But, no, I think it sucks, man, that he's not playing because that would have been perfect.
We're not there yet.
Okay,
we're still talking about this game.
All right, yeah. So what else should we talk about? You want to talk about the run game? I mean,
no, I don't think the run game's spectacular. I mean, Ford averaged 4.6 yards. No, 6.3 yards a carry.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking good.
That's pretty good.
And he did have some really great runs, like hard runs.
He did.
And then,
but 15 yards of that was the rugby scrum. Yeah. Joel Bitonio picked him up and carried him towards the goal line. Did
you see Elijah Moore chopping his shirt behind him? That was sick. No, yes, okay, 15 yards is that, but
I was just I'm just playing.
I mean, he had several really nice runs, a lot of hard runs. That one where he spun out and picked up like 28 yards or something like that. That was really nice. It'd be nice to see him come along, especially because I feel like if he could be, you know, your home run threat, whereas Kareem just beats the shit out of him. I mean, that's a good 1-2 pop.
Well, okay, how many yards does it feel like Kareem had in that game?
I think I know how many he had.
Yeah, but how many does it feel like?
It felt like he had like 60.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He
had like 38.
He had 32, and I'm like watching the game. I'm like, man, you got to give him the ball.
It's because whenever he touches the ball, it seems like it's important. Like it seems like he gets the most important yards. Like if you're at the goal line, like we were, and I think that was a third down when he scored that touchdown. If when in doubt, they're either going to the 3 people on our offense that if we're in doubt, we're going to is Njoku, Coop, and Kareem. Those are the guys, and they're your veterans, you know. So it makes sense. But I was very, very impressed with Ford. We've talked, you know, about his play a little bit on the podcast, and he definitely surprised me. And it ran angry, which was something I didn't know he had in him. So I'm happy to see that. I think the rushing game was good. Deshaun had some good runs, some pivotal runs. Njoku, I mean, he had that one bad drop, but bounced back in a
like
big
2
way.
plays later, ran over 2 people, carried half the team downfield with him. Yeah,
there was a third down, like a 3rd and 13 that he converted on a little dunk pass and ran through 2 tackles. I mean, did you see what Kyle Brandt was talking about?
No.
Oh man, I'll show you the clip later. But he has this angry run segment that he gives them a scepter or something. Okay. And he's like, the Browns had like 20 of them, but I'm gonna give it to Njoku, and he shows the play, and he is just going off. Like he is probably the biggest Njoku fan I've ever seen. He's like, fire can't stop this guy. Nobody can stop this guy. It was awesome. He was going off. It was like he was a hype man. It was so cool. But no, it's like a lot of people in even the national media. I mean, Kyle Brandt's been on the Browns for a long time, but even people that you wouldn't see normally on them, a lot of people gained some respect for us after that win, which was cool. Wow. So you can't even say that was really a fluke at all because it was an entire team win.
It wasn't a fluke because if you actually break the game down, we played like shit as an offense for most of the game. In all honesty,
actually, if you watch it, in that second half we played really fucking good.
Well,
the first half we did not play well at all.
No,
and actually, really, we didn't play that bad. We shot ourselves in the foot a lot with penalties. I don't know. Watching that game back, it seemed completely different because we moved the ball. Like we got 3 field goals in the first half. We were moving the ball. It's just we weren't capitalizing in certain key spots. And then it seemed like in the second half we got those figured out. And I wish sorry to keep foreshadowing it, but I wish we could have built on this with Deshaun because in that first part, he was talking about how it felt like we were pressing. And to me, when he says that, he's saying that he was being put in positions that he didn't feel comfortable, or in positions that he felt like he could be super successful. And then they switched the game plan.
Either that, or he thought I threw a pick six and I got to freaking make up for it right now. That's the way I would take that when he says, "I feel like we were pressing," because I don't think Stefanski was pressing.
Yeah.
So I don't think the play calls, and I got to say this: if Kevin Stefanski gets us into the playoffs, how the hell is he not Coach of the Year?
Dude,
with all the bullshit that we've had to put up with.
100%. And it started in the very, very, very beginning. Like even, and not even just with our team, but now everybody on Twitter is talking about, oh, the Browns front office is stupid for getting rid of Dobbs. That is an entirely bullshit storyline to me. I love Dobbs. We've always loved Dobbs, but he didn't look like this when he was playing for Tennessee last year. He's playing really, really well, better than anybody could have predicted. So everybody's saying that this was, that trade early on was stupid to get rid of your backup like that.
It kind of was.
In hindsight, it kind of was. But, I mean, we're coming off a preseason where DTR looked better than Dobbs in the preseason. And I honestly think that DTR could play really, really well. Give him a couple of starts and ride him out. Now that he knows that he's not stopgap, that he has to play the rest of the year, let him build. He's a very intelligent guy.
You're getting into stuff we ain't talking about yet.
I know.
We're still talking about this game.
Yeah. Anyway, basically what I was trying to say is it would have been cool to build off this, because when Deshaun felt like he was controlling the offense, being methodical, we had a 17-play drive. He was moving the ball very efficiently. So, and going back to what you said, Stefanski, I think, has called great games for several weeks now. Like do you know what the split was on pass to run in that game?
It was 35 passes to 36 rushes.
That sounds pretty good.
That's the recipe.
Imagine if 20 of those were to Nick Chubb.
Oh my
God! Right. Hopefully next year. But
well, I'll be honest with you. I'm in no hurry to rush Nick Chubb back.
Yeah.
I want him to be 100% healthy mentally as well as physically. Because if he comes in and he's tentative, which I don't think he will be.
I don't either.
That guy's a freaking stallion.
Yeah, I mean, he just another thing we got today or yesterday was his second surgery went well.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. So
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, he's now just strictly recovering, and they said they expect him to be back in 2024. So
good.
That's good to hear. He's going to be playing at some point then. Also, Deshaun is expected to start 2024. They also said that too.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
No, I was just giving you updates.
I know all that.
Okay, well, I was just saying. But, yeah. Well, then let's wrap this up, because I got some other things to ask you.
Because we still got to get into the Steelers game.
Yeah, well, we got to talk about Deshaun some too.
We will.
All right.
As soon as we get done here, we'll go there, and then we got to go into
So what else do you want to talk about? Borquez didn't do that. He didn't really have to do that much. We didn't punt a ton in the game.
Yeah, we did.
We really didn't. We kicked a lot of field goals. Looking back, it felt like we didn't punt that much.
Week 11 this week?
Yeah.
Funny, he had 2 punts.
Yeah, he didn't punt that much, and I noticed something watching back on the all 22. We were kicking it short on purpose because they were worried about Duvernay.
I know.
Like I didn't notice that when we were playing, but he was not airing it out at all. Like some of his punts, I don't know if it shows the average there, but he was punting maybe 40, 45 yards. His
average was 44 and a half.
Right.
His long was only 46.
Right. So
Well, I think there was a couple of those he punted down, like we punted for field position purposes.
Oh, there was one that we were at around 20 or 30, and he punted at 40 yards. And it was just because I feel like they didn't want to deal with Duvernay.
Well, why wouldn't you just kick it out of bounds then? Punt it out of bounds.
I guess he's not.
Boot it to hell and back and put it out of bounds.
I guess he's not a great directional punter. is what I've always heard the knock on him was, which I haven't seen this year. But special teams wise, you had the one missed PAT in the muffed punt. Wasn't the greatest special teams game, but they were able to overcome it. Defensively, was there anybody who really stuck out to you in the game?
The whole damn defense.
Yeah, the whole defense looked good.
I mean, you could talk for 2 hours about the defense. I mean, yeah, we gave up some plays, but as far as the D line goes, I mean, I think they did a pretty good job. You kept the Ravens to 100 yards rushing, 106 yards.
I think the D line played amazing. It doesn't really show as much in the stat sheet, but Z is having an incredible year. He had a great game. He was causing lots of pressure. Miles had, I think, a sack and a half in that game.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, his sacks are coming at timely moments. It's always like, I know one for sure was on third down, and it pushed him out of field goal range. Delpit's playing at an all-pro level. He had another really good game. JOK added to his tackle for loss. I don't know if he's solo in the lead in the NFL this year now, but he had a couple of tackles for loss, and he could have had more. He had a couple of plays like on the screens later in the game that he got there and couldn't bring him down, but he held them up long enough for everybody to rally. So
one thing I will say about the defense, they gave up 106 yards rushing, 39 of which was that one touchdown run.
Yep. Gus Edwards did not have a crazy game. He had that touchdown, but
he had 24 yards.
Yeah,
11 carries for 24 yards. And when
he had like 6 tries to do it.
When they got down there on that goal line, and we were getting penalties and just prolonging drives, and then they finally scored their touchdown. It's like, Jesus criminy, they were trying to run the ball, they just couldn't.
Well, you think about it too. I mean, they held them, right? They held them, muff punt, and then had like 10 plays again. So they were on the field for a long ass time without any rest, and the intensity down in the red zone is different. I mean, it shouldn't be, but it is. You don't have to run as far, but mentally it can get draining. So, I think the defense played a heck of a game.
They did. I can't single out anybody. I mean, Delpit played good. JOK played good.
Going back to the defense / special teams, we did have a block kick.
Yeah.
Jordan Elliott. I mean, that was big.
That was huge.
I mean, that we were lost.
Well, maybe. I mean,
yeah.
You don't know how the game would go.
Mm-hmm. It was just such an awesome game to watch. There was so many different twists and turns where the game could have went differently. And it's just crazy to think you were down for 59.9 or 59.59 and you came out and won.
Right.
And you basically were down that much the entire time because the first or the second play.
Right.
So it's crazy. You basically gave them a 7-point handicap, which I think they were probably the favorites, so they didn't need that.
Right.
But hopefully next year, Deshaun can figure out how to not spot our greatest rivals' points at the very beginning of games.
Well, I think what you do is you run the damn ball.
Yeah.
And get something going on the ground. Then you do that play. Because that's the same play that's what happened against the Steelers.
You know what the worst part about that was? Was the guy he was thrown to in Njoku was wide open. And Elijah Moore right over the middle was wide open. So he had 2 wide open guys. And to be fair, Kyle Hamilton's 6'4" and is an athletic freak too. So
well, I mean, he would only jump 8 feet off the ground to tip the ball. So.
Right. You don't have.
I mean, I can't really hold that against Deshaun after actually sitting and thinking about it because that shouldn't have happened.
I mean, that's a play as a quarterback. I mean, I picked off Bucyrus 3 times off that play.
Right.
So that's a play that you basically get the ball, look one way, like to fake the defense and go the other way, kind of without looking, and it should have looked. So,
all right. So let's move on.
Okay. Great game. All All right, so we're gonna move into talking about Deshaun. We got the news earlier today. We're recording on a Wednesday, so waking up this morning, I felt like I was waking up to a nightmare. I honestly didn't believe it when I saw it on my phone. I had to like go to Twitter and read the actual Browns press release. But Deshaun Watson is out for the rest of the year with a broken bone, I guess, in his right shoulder. So he's going to have season-ending surgery. It sounds like they're going to try to do that pretty quick because it sounds like he's going to be able to start at the very beginning of next season. It was just kind of something I didn't anticipate seeing.
Nope.
And it's crazy. He played the entire, like they said that he got injured on a hit in the first quarter.
Second quarter.
Okay, second quarter.
It was the hit where Patrick Queen hit him in the shoulder with his helmet.
Okay.
As he was getting ready, like he was stood up by the sideline.
I do remember that.
Patrick Queen smashed him.
Right. So that was definitely a downer. Now you're down your top 3 tackles, your all-pro running back, your quarterback. It's not, you're kind of up against it to try to win the division here. We were kind of all riding high off that win, thinking, we have a chance to win this AFC North. Not saying that we don't, but it's definitely a good bit harder now.
See, I don't think so.
Yeah.
We've said it all year. If Deshaun can just play average, or whoever's playing quarterback can give us average quarterback play, we're good. And I don't give a damn if you're playing quarterback. Just play average. Don't turn the ball over, and we'll win games. That's all that we got to do. Yeah. I mean, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
The thing that differs with Nick Foles in that is that he was playing out of his mind too to win that Super Bowl. He was playing at a Pro Bowl level as a quarterback. Yeah, I don't know that we have someone on our roster who can play at that level. Again, we've said all year that we need average quarterback play. I'm hopeful, as I was saying a little bit ago. I think that DTR is going to come out in this next game and maybe the following one and look pretty bad. But I think that...
See, I don't think so.
Yeah, he might not, but...
I can't be pessimistic. I can't sit here and think that way. So I'm going in high, but I'm fully aware that I'll probably be disappointed. If that makes any sense.
And I look at it kind of in the reverse. I think I know that he's going to suck these first couple games maybe, but I think he's a really, really smart kid. From all accounts,
why do you think that?
Why do I think that?
Why do you think he's going to suck?
Based off his previous performance, mostly, and then also it's against the Steelers, and I just always feel like their defense plays us really, really well. I think that if you're looking to mitigate turnovers, that's one of the worst, probably one of the worst defenses in the league to try to do that against. Now, I think Minka Fitzpatrick might be injured, so
I hope so.
Yeah, I think he is. He at least was last week. So,
well, can I just say this? If we sat here last segment and said Stefanski could be coach of the year, if he has the full week knowing that DTR is starting,
right?
You don't have confidence in Stefanski to scheme up a game plan where maybe we don't throw. Like this last game, we threw 35 passes and ran 36 times. The Steelers' run defense is like 24th or 28th in the league. So why wouldn't you make a game plan where we're going to pound the rock, do maybe 15 to 20 throws, play action throws, put DTR in the shotgun because that's what he ran in college.
Yeah, and he was starting to do that a little bit more with Watson there too.
Right.
I could see that. Do you remember back? Did DTR didn't have the full week, right?
No, he didn't even
Against the
know he was
Ravens.
playing.
Right, that's right.
Because it was 10 o'clock in the morning or 10:30, we heard that DTR was starting. And it's like, he didn't know.
Right.
Stefanski went in there with a game plan for Watson and not DTR. That's on Stefanski. I blame him for that.
Yeah.
Because he should have known.
Yeah, or at least have given DTR more reps in practice just in case. But yeah, I think that's fair. I didn't think about that point.
Well, okay. So he looked damn good in preseason. Against vanilla second team defenses. I get it. But you can only play against who you play against. And he looked decent.
From what I saw, he has all the measurables to be very good. He has a lot of zip on the ball. It looked like he can make all the throws. I think it's pace of the game. It's all the other variables that I think.
Well, they did have him playing as Lamar in practice last week.
Right.
He was Lamar Jackson in practice last week. And evidently, he got a game ball for practice player of the week. So he must have looked pretty good. And you're playing against our defense.
Right.
So, I mean, I think our defense is better than the Steelers' defense. We got better corners.
Oh, I know.
We got much better D-line. And granted, I mean, it's practice. It's not like you're going 100%. But if he gets practice all week long and they actually give him a good look, I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to look great.
Right.
But all I need is average. That's all I need. Don't turn the ball over. Don't turn the ball over. I mean, if you think about it, we had 2 turnovers in that game.
Right.
A muff punt, which turned into points, and then an instant turn into points.
Right.
So right there is 14 points.
Right.
I mean, you were talking earlier, we don't win the game if we don't block that kick. Well, we don't lose the game if we don't throw a pick six and muff a punt.
True.
So if we don't do that, if we play clean, complimentary football, we will smoke them fools.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And I think that honestly we could probably still win with DTR playing bad. But
I don't think so. It depends on what your definition of bad is. If he plays like he did against the Ravens, we're done.
Yeah, okay. Imagine a stat line where DTR he goes 13 of 28 for 160 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. To me, that's not a great game.
No, that's freaking horrible.
Right. That's kind of what I could see him having.
Well, see, I can see it going like this. DTR is 13 for 19 for 220, no picks, and we kick the Steelers' ass.
Yeah.
Because it's home. Kenny Pickett's going to throw us the ball.
Right. No,
Or give it up. He's going to get sacked, strip, fumble. We're going to get the ball. Like, I could see us getting 3 turnovers on defense. Maybe score a touchdown.
Has there been any update on Denzel's health?
Not that I've heard.
Yeah.
All day today it was about Deshaun.
Right.
They didn't talk really about anything else.
Well, I think it would be important to see how Denzel is doing, how Cam Mitchell is doing too.
I think he's out.
Yeah, because I don't mind Mike Ford, but if you'd really want to have at least
you got AJ Green too.
Yeah,
I don't think AJ Green was elevated off the practice squad last week.
Okay.
Well, AJ Green's a good player.
He is.
Like, why he's on the practice squad, I don't know.
The only reason I bring that up is because last time we played them, they didn't have Deontay Johnson, so they got a little bit more receiver potential threats, I guess you could say. But their offense by no means should scare you, I don't think.
Don't scare me.
And the defense, their defense, I don't think it has been playing as well as you have seen them play. They haven't been underperforming by any means, but they're not playing at an elite defensive level this year, I don't think. TJ Watt's having a good year, and they have some players that having good years, but they're not. They wouldn't scare you too bad if you had.
The pass rush scares me. They don't scare me against the run.
Well, the pass rush scares you, especially because you have backup
tackles.
I'd be curious to see if DeJuan Jones is going to be back.
He's not.
He's not.
They're talking about him not being back this weekend. I don't know that though. I just had heard on the way home that DeJuan's probably not going to play.
And Wills, is he done for the
He's on IR.
Okay, so
it's not the season-ending IR, but he's on IR.
So that was last week he got injured. Not this past week, but the week before against the Cardinals. So that's at least 4 weeks.
Right.
So, yeah, that's I don't know though, because the Ravens are supposed to have good pass. They're supposed to be the sack leaders in the league. So, I mean, I felt like mitigated them pretty well.
Well, they did get 4 sacks.
Yeah, but
I think 2 of those at least were on Deshaun. Personally.
I completely agree with that, and I think he would even say that. I think even they said that on
the
CBD, and the broadcast, I believe too. There was only really one bad sack, and that was the strip fumble that Judon had, and
Judon,
not Judon, sorry,
Adolphe.
Yeah, one of the 99 Owe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Owe had, and that was just him getting beat off the line, wasn't able to recover at all. But as far as the Steelers go, I think your game plan is exactly what you need to be with DTR. I would say, for me, I want him to be around 20 to 25 passes because you don't want to have the box loaded all the time.
Well, it depends on the passes.
Yeah.
See, that's the whole statistical thing. Let's say he goes 13 for 20 with 225 yards. What does that tell you?
Well, I would guess that either you're having really good explosive screens to, like, say, Njoku or something like that, or you're pushing the ball downfield a little bit. What sucks about...
Which opens up the box.
Right. What sucks about Deshaun not being there to me, and I still think that DTR can do this. I still think he can push the ball downfield, but I think their secondary can be got. I can't remember back to, didn't Coop have a really, like, a 50-plus yard catch that game?
I don't know.
I don't remember, but I feel like other than Joey Porter Jr. and if Mika Fitzpatrick is injured, their secondary can be got. And I think their previous opponent beat them a couple of times deep. So if it was me and I was creating a game plan for this game, I would also, pound the rock as much as possible. I think you should have a healthy dose.
Cooper had 90 yards total in that game, and he had his long was 23.
Okay, so he didn't really go too deep. For some reason, I thought that there was a deep pass in that game.
No, that's after Chubb got hurt.
Everything went downhill.
It went to shit.
Right. Yeah, I think you need a steady dose of Kareem in this game. You really need to wear them out. And if you wear out that defensive line, I think, you're cooking with gas then.
They need to do exactly what they did with Baltimore.
Yeah.
Because basically Baltimore was war. They just beat them up. We beat them up. And that's what we need to do. We need Wyatt Teller or somebody to pull around the edge and just knock TJ Watt smack on his ass and bury him. And do the same thing to Highsmith on the next play. And they need to come out just like they did on defense and offense in the second half of that game. They need to just continue what they started in the second half of the Baltimore game. Come out, be fit. You have to be more physical than Pittsburgh. You punch them in the face. They're just like the Ravens. You come out and you bully them, they wilt. They do it all the time.
Looking back at the All-22 in that Ravens game, to me, that was by far the best run blocking game the Browns have had. Even with the 2 new tackles, they looked great run blocking. I know this isn't any revelation, but Joel Bitonio had an amazing game. He looked awesome, and that's good to see both the guards did. I mean, like I said,
the center had a great game too.
Yeah.
He was decleating people.
And I saw a stat. He's had 193 consecutive pass blocking snaps without a single sack.
Posick?
Yeah, and only like 5 pressures. I think 0 quarterback hits. Like he's playing really well, which he did last year. Um, I think this game is pretty straightforward, even with having DTR playing. I think you just need to out physical them, which is a solid game plan in any AFC North game, I think.
Right.
Um, like I said, I think that defense that we have can shut them down. Najee doesn't scare me. Honestly, Deontay Johnson doesn't really scare me. And then I would put Emerson on Pickens, and I think everything from there is pretty straightforward. But
yeah, I don't know. I think the recipe for success against the Steelers is come out, punch them in the face, maybe literally, just come out and punch somebody. I don't know, and set the tones early. The crowd will be into it. I know the Cleveland fans will be loud, and the defense just do what they've been doing.
And I honestly think the crowd will be there for DTR too, because when I was on Twitter earlier today, everybody was clamoring for DTR to play. So everyone's like, I can't sit through watching PJ Walker for the rest of the season. So if DTR is playing, then I think that crowd could go.
Well, I hope Stefanski doesn't get pass happy. I mean, he did it with Walker, and I don't think we can do that. We can't do that again. We have to try to run the ball. If we can't run the ball, okay. But I'm telling you, like 13 for 20 for 200 yards or 2 to 220 yards, and we're going to win the game if there's no turnovers. Now, if he goes 13 of 19 with 6 interceptions, we're fucked. But if he goes 13 of 19 with no turnovers, and I think when I say turnovers, I think like if he gets sacked and fumbles the ball, okay, that's probably gonna happen. I expect it to happen. But as long as he's not throwing interceptions and we're threatening them downfield, because he can throw the ball. I mean, he's got a good arm.
He does.
He's accurate. If he can be accurate and throw, all we gotta do is hit 2 deep balls. And that they're not going to be able to load the box.
One thing that doesn't get talked enough about good teams is who you practice against. One thing that has been great for our corners, like one thing that was so exciting for me was when Odell and Jarvis was here. You had 2 great quotation marks receivers playing against our corners, and I thought, iron sharpens iron in practice. Our offense is playing against the hardest defense, like all year long in practice. So, like eventually that offense has to pop. Unfortunately, it keeps getting, decimated by injuries. But
there's going to come a point if these injuries keep happening like they are, where we're just going to have to, as a fan base, just say, "Well, ain't our year."
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know. I don't want to jinx anything, but I mean, a couple more injuries to the offense, and you're fucked.
I mean, Njoku lit his face on fire this year. Like, it's crazy. And he still played, obviously, but it's crazy the amount of injuries that have happened to the offense. Luckily, knock on wood, the defense has been relatively healthy, but yeah, you're right. I mean, you can only take so many injuries to especially one side of your football team. So hopefully that we've gotten through that. Couldn't have happened to the most important positions on the team offensively.
Well, in all honesty, the second Deshaun hurt his shoulder to start with, rotator cuff, really?
Yeah.
They should have probably IR'd him and got him right, and then because they said it's got nothing to do with that injury, which it probably doesn't. I mean, a broken bone and a rotator cuff are 2 different things, but
100%.
But if it's already gimpy,
The other thing that just irks me though is like the doctors told he was from what I was hearing, Deshaun was saying I'll take a shot and I'll be fine. He wanted to play. Literally, the dude broke tackles on those freaking runs at the end of the game. Like he lowered that right shoulder into dudes.
Right.
So like, I don't know how much that was affecting him because he was still ripping the hell out of the ball and
Well,
everything.
yeah, but I mean, damn. It,
Yeah,
the adrenaline goes away,
I
and
know. It
then
just
he
sucks.
sprained his ankle, so they probably had him on a little something,
Right,
anyways.
right.
So, like, I get it, and I listened to his interview or his press conference today, and you can tell, like, he wants to play.
I know.
And he went to 8 different doctors, and all it would have took was one of them to say, "Yeah, go ahead and play," and he'd be playing.
Right,
But they basically all said, "Hey, you can play if you want to, but your arm's gonna fall off,
right.
literally." So, I mean, for what they've got invested in him, they need to shut him down.
Hmm.
I don't blame them. But I'll say it like this: it's not like Deshaun was playing like Mahomes
Right.
or Joe Burrow. So all I expect is whoever steps in there to play average.
We have won against greater competition without him. We beat the 49ers without him. I don't think we have anybody else on our schedule, honestly, as hard as who we've played. Between playing the Ravens twice and playing the 49ers, I feel like the rest of we've won throughout all of this bullshit. So I feel like, you know, I'm going back on my word earlier. I feel like we have plenty to make up for.
I talked you into it.
Yeah, you did.
Normally, I'm the negative one.
No, but you're right. I mean, we've beaten teams that we shouldn't have on paper with not that great quarterback play. So, if DTR can come out and play, clean football or average football, we should be fine.
That's why I listened to the radio today all day, and everybody like doom and gloom. Not everybody, but I would say 75 to 80% of the people that were calling or tweeting the shows I was listening to were doom and gloom. And I'm thinking, really? Like, I haven't seen good quarterback play really since Jacoby. So, like, I mean,
the one thing that we're not talking about that is different with DTR than both PJ and Deshaun can run. But I think DTR is a lot faster and a lot more elusive. Not that you want your quarterback running all the time, but I think that's a facet that you can work into the game a little bit too.
well, you got to remember our backup now is PJ Walker. So
Right.
let's not do that.
I'm just saying, like, if there is some, like, that's another little wrinkle to his game that, could add some flavor.
No, he's more like Deshaun than what PJ Walker is.
Right.
I think.
PJ, I mean, it was weird. Like, seeing him run, he was not slow. Like, he can move. He just never did.
Right.
I think he ran, like, once or twice in
Right.
those games. But DTR, if you remember in the preseason, he had a game where he had, like, 80 yards rushing or something like
Right.
that. So that is a facet to his game. He's definitely a pocket passer, but, I mean, if you need a little
Well, I'll be
3-yard
honest with
scramble
you,
for a first.
I don't know nothing about the guy other than what I've seen. I never watched him in college. I mean, hell, he went to UCLA. I'm not watching college, especially UCLA at 10 o'clock at night.
You might be soon joining the Big Ten.
Well, yeah, but like I don't know. I just have a good feeling.
He's a smart kid, man.
And I don't normally have good feelings.
He his last year of college, he didn't take any classes because he had already graduated.
Right.
Basically, he just played football.
Right.
I think he learned a foreign language on the side. Like, he's a smart kid. I think he learned Mandarin, if I'm not mistaken, which is not easy. But I mean, he is a rookie, but he's a rookie who prepared all of last year as if he was playing professional football.
Yeah, but we've also seen rookies all year long come in and look good.
Yeah, C.J. Stroud.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the guy in Tennessee.
Oh, Will Levis.
Yeah, he come in, look great for a game. I just need him to look average.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need him to look like C.J. Stroud.
Nope.
He just needs to come in and not do stupid shit.
No, see, C.J. Stroud's completely different. He's playing on an MVP level right now.
Yeah. I just need him to play average. If he can just play average, and by average, 13 for 20.
It's like
no interceptions.
I forget. It's kind of like when they say play within yourself, play within your own game.
Right.
He doesn't need to press. He doesn't need to go outside what
just
he does.
Go out there, turn around, hand the ball off. That's all you got to do.
And just move the sticks. That's all you got to do. And I think Stefanski kind of saw some stuff in the last game, made some realization. I mean, not that he's been calling bad games, because again, I think he's been play calling very well this season so far, at least the past 6 weeks or
Well,
whatever
I've
you want to
hated
say.
Kevin Stefanski's play calling for years.
Yeah, and I think he's done pretty well.
And he this year I can't. I mean, even Andy Reid calls stupid plays.
Right.
So I mean, I'll give him a few.
And the other thing too is he's owned it. Like I think he said one of the play calls down by the red zone. He said it was a terrible play call.
Yeah, it was a horrible play call. That one's on me.
Yeah, which I like that.
Which he said that a lot in the past too. But like, I think his play calling is heads and shoulders above what it ever was this year. And like I've said before, I think he actually calls better plays when he has a lesser quarterback.
Yeah, so that might be a good thing. But
except for a couple games with PJ, it's like, dude, why are we throwing the ball 40 times with this guy? He can't throw. Like, I don't know.
Alrighty. Well, you got anything else to talk about?
Nope. The Steelers suck.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you want to do your prediction?
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say 7 million to 3.
Okay.
Cleveland.
I'm not going to go that far. I do think, honestly, I do think we're going to score some points in this game. And we could have another defensive touchdown, I think. I want to go.
Is Kenny Pickett playing?
Was he injured?
I don't know. Did he play the last game?
I don't know.
I think they were on. Weren't they on bye last?
No, they played. They won against Green Bay.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah,
I think he did play them.
Yeah, we're rooting for Green Bay. But I think it's going to be. I keep seeing like 20 to 10. Browns.
That's what you think?
Yeah. Now that you got me all optimistic, my normal setting, you got me back to optimism. So I just think that defense is going to play a great game again. I think after that last game, they're going to be out for blood. And Miles tends to get up for these Steelers games. So I think he's going to have a great game. So I see it going pretty handily. I just don't think they're going to score a lot of points. So, and if DTR plays pretty decent, I could see us scoring 28.
See, I almost think this game we need to play zone because if you remember the last game we played them, they were getting rid of the ball so fast.
Yeah.
Like so fast.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't know if we'll have a lot of sacks because I think they're actually going to get rid of the ball faster. If it's even possible.
If that's the case, I'd play a lot of cover 3 because you have a lot of. I think they run a lot of crosses against us. And you know what I would do? Honestly, I'd play with Miles a little bit. I would do some fake drops, like some fake rush and drop back into like a zone.
I might do that with both ends.
Yeah, every now and again. But that's one thing that no one ever talks about. No matter what. Every team does it. Every team speeds up their play when they play against us because of our pass rush, and they have for Miles for years now. But the Steelers do it to an entirely different level. And they had to with Ben because he didn't have the arm strength anymore, but they just kind of kept rolling with it. So I would get funky with some of those zone coverages and try to throw off Kenny Pickett.
Well, in Schwartz, I trust. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure he'll come up with something.
I don't think the defense played very bad against them last time.
They didn't.
I think they played really well.
The defense only gave up 6 points.
Right. Because they had 2 defensive touchdowns, didn't they?
Steelers?
Yeah. I know Hightower did.
I know they had one.
Hightower did. I want to say TJ Watt did too. Or he caused the strip fumble that led to someone scoring.
I don't know.
But I don't know. I feel relatively.
I was kind of in a daze after Chubb got hurt in that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had 4 turnovers in that game. No one. I can't go back far enough on the plays.
Surprise Chubb.
Deshaun Watson fumbled. TJ Watt recovered fumble and returned for a 16-yard touchdown.
Yep, and then the Hightower pick 6.
Alex Highsmith intercepted Deshaun Watson for a 30-yard touchdown.
That was the first or second play of the game.
and Pickens had a touchdown.
Yeah, he had that long, like 77
They
yarder.
gave up 13 points. The defense, 2 field goals and a touchdown.
Yep.
That was it.
So I could see that being similar if we play clean. 10, 13 points seems about right for them.
I'll be honest with you. My 7 million to 3, I like way more than your score.
Yeah.
Because I could see the defense shutting them out.
I just really hope that the morale is still high
It's got
on
to
the
be.
team.
If it's not, okay, I'll say this. If losing Deshaun Watson makes our defense play like shit, we need to cut everybody on our defense. Yeah. I don't give a fuck who it is. Because now the defense needs to say, okay, now we're winning the fucking Super Bowl this year. We're getting us there. They're not scoring. No one's fucking scoring. Nobody. And they need to come out and they need to be bullies. That's what I expect from our defense. If they come out and give up plays like stupid, if they play like we did against Baltimore in the first game we played them, when the defense played good for a quarter and then they're like, we're fucked. And they just kind of rolled over. If they play like that, I'm going to be so disappointed. And I will rail on their ass the next show that we do. I will rail on their ass. Because I expect that defense, with the veterans that we have on that team, to stand up and make a statement this game. Number one, they hurt Nick Chubb.
Mm-hmm.
So there's redemption for that. We need to take anger out from last week's Deshaun getting hurt on him. And it's the Steelers. I don't care if I'm starting quarterback. The defense and the offense needs to come out and play like we want to rape and pillage Pittsburgh.
How is this not a primetime game? I wish that this was a primetime game.
Well, if you think about it, though, I mean, I'm glad it's not, because now we don't have our starting quarterback. Their quarterback sucks. Their offense sucks.
Yeah.
So, I'd rather play him at 1 o'clock. The last time we played in prime time, Nick Chubb got hurt,
right,
and we sucked.
That's fair, but I just feel like, man, this is going to be a fun game, I think, to watch. However it goes. Maybe that's just me being a Browns fan, but you got the AFC North playing each other this week. A lot of stuff's going to happen. You got to win this one, because if you win this one, you're a half game back right now, and you could be in the lead for the division if Cincinnati takes care of Baltimore tomorrow. So
that's a big if.
Big if, yes. But we'll see. So anyway.
Well, I think we're going to win. I got a feeling we're going to win. I got a feeling the defense is going to come out and play really good. And DTR will play average. Maybe that's good for him. Maybe DTR will be good. I don't know.
Yeah.
But all I need is average.
I am excited to see what he looks like when he has a full week of practice to prepare. Because that's not really fair. I mean, it is fair. He should be ready at all times, all that stuff.
But well, if you think about it, though, was that the third game that we played?
Fourth.
When he came in, fourth game? Mm-hmm. So, well, I guess, yeah, because we traded Dobbs after his last preseason game, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yeah, he would have been getting second-team reps for 3 weeks. But, I mean, it's different.
Yeah, but you're not getting team reps with your receivers as much. I think they were talking about PJ when he came in for Deshaun. He had 2 reps with the first team all week. So, it's completely different. So, I'm excited to see what he game plans. From everything I hear, he is incredibly smart and good in the film room. So,
yeah, I hope so. I hope he does good.
But anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's it. I'm good.
All right.
We'll be talking about a victory next week.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So this has been our 10th episode. We hit that milestone. Meant to say that earlier. I don't know if I did or not.
You didn't.
Yeah, but it's been our 10th episode. If you stuck around with us long enough here, hope you've been enjoying it. Like I said, this is an ever-evolving podcast. We've gotten a bit more loose form now, and I kind of like it a lot better.
I like it better.
But we always want to hear from you guys. If you want to leave us a comment on the YouTube video, leave us a review on Spotify. It definitely helps us out. Lets us know that you're liking it or not liking it, and we can change it up a little bit. But yeah, we'll see you guys.
Any feedback would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. Well, alrighty, that does it here for Chilling with the Dogs. We're going to be coming back to you guys with a Steelers win next week. Have a good one.
That's right.
Later. You're listening to the Chillin' with the Dogs podcast, where we talk sports, mostly football, and a lot about the Browns. Our episodes drop Friday mornings. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. The more we hear from you guys, the better our podcast can be. All right, now let's get into it.